GM Adrian.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Going to be a massive show today. I'm super excited. We've got a retweet that we are live. We are going to be live for the first half hour. We're going to be doing Farcaster news, filling you in what's going on, giving you a little ramp up to our interview with Dan Romero and Jack Dishman, DWR and Dish, from Farcaster and Clanker. And we'll be diving into the very exciting news that Farcaster has acquired Clanker. So this is going to be amazing today. Adrian, are you ready? Because this is going to be like a massive day.
So ready. My voice
so
is
ready, but your voice
90% back.
Okay.
I was at Farcaster Dev Day on Friday,
which we're going to talk all about. I need to get your insights from that. So, I think you just muted. So I'm really excited to hear about that. That's definitely something we're diving into at the top. So, but yeah, your voice is rough. Luckily, here's the thing. Luckily, Dan's coming on in 30 minutes and we won't have to say anything.
Our
we
number
get to
one
ask
thing.
like 2 questions and then he just goes. It's fantastic. All right, but before that, we're going to do a quick little intro. We'll be back on the other side of 66 seconds. Please retweet, recast, let people know we are live, and we'll be right back. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. This episode of GM Farcaster is powered by Clanker. Each Monday, we'll bring you the latest news from the Clanker team and highlight the builders innovating with Clanker and Farcaster. Visit clanker.world to launch your token and check out all the new features that Clanker V4 has to offer. Thank you, Clanker, for sponsoring GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, October 27th, and you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day. Plus, we have Dan Romero and Jack Dishman joining us at the top of the hour, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Very excited to chat with them. Very exciting day. Adrian, we got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. And I'm very excited. This is going to be really fun. If you are here for the first time and you haven't been with us today, we do GM Farcaster 3 times a week. We have been doing it for over 2 years. And everything is on chain as well as an NFT, first on Zora, then on pods. And so now we are on pods. So just to kind of give you the lay of the land if you are new here. So let's dive in, Adrian, because we've got some news to share before we get into all the things. So first up, this is a little summary of what's been going on from Brad Q. 29 seconds of Farcaster. What did you miss this weekend? What a weekend. If you're new here, I feel bad for you trying to follow along. Give it another few days. I probably should have called this 30 seconds of Farcaster. True. So yes, 37 is everywhere. I guess it started with TLDR wearing his 37 hat, created by A-Town to Dev Day and several posting it. But then Tri-Emerge took over and slammed the timeline. Then Martin, famously of Hire and Ethernet fame, created 37 coin. And well, now we just have a crazy 37 playpen. And Chris Dixon thinks new tech starts as a toy before it gets serious. Shaking my head. If you are new, 37 is a meme or joke about FC being small and only having 37 users. GM Farcaster will explain it further today. And that's pretty much the whole explanation. So I don't know if I need to say much more than that. It's a joke that we have so few people over here. It's only 37 of us. That's the whole joke. So if you see the 37 meme, now you know. Speaking of crazy, Dan went unhinged with his Masters of Warplet universe creations to Linda's horror. and Horsefax's delight. But it clearly didn't stop there. as Angel ran with it, creating warplets, and that's what you see behind us right now on our backgrounds. Last night, well, ugly cute. They are filling the timeline, and those of us who aren't degens and up at all hours are waiting for a chance to mint ours today. In the midst of these shenanigans that might GM Farcaster shenanigans look mild, there were some more based building moments and discussions. Highly recommend reading the reviews from Dev Day in the comments quoted here. Fantastic combo about wallet-led focus of FC with Ted's comment to start, which is fantastic, which I hope we'll have time to dive into a little bit. We may not. And then, of course, we are on now, but we're on at 10:30, not 10 a.m. He messed that up, but that's okay. Warplets are adorably terrifying, accurate description. We will get into that in just a bit. First up, I do need to mention this, CastOut, which is our version of Crypto the Game, if you will. It's a survivor-inspired game of challenges that all happen on Farcaster. Countdown is on 7 days, 5 hours, 10 minutes, 19 seconds, and I am freaking out because it's coming up very soon. It's actually now 3 hours, 10 minutes, 19 seconds. Because, it's just a lot. But before that all begins, please go add our mini app. It has everything you need to know about CastOut, and all the fun things are in here. We do need to update because we do have a couple more sponsors. So
yeah, I'll talk to the dev about that.
Yeah, we have a couple more sponsors. So if the dev could get on,
get it done today. She's gonna get it done.
Aptos, and also it looks like the purple prop is going to pass. So purple will be our final title sponsor. And yes, the CastOut was just a marketing ploy to get people back to Yoink. It's true. Working on that little issue, by the way. So hopefully Horsefax will get that done in time.
Can I share another debate about CastOut?
Yeah, go ahead.
Rumor has it there will be a bracket.
There will be a bracket.
So you can bet on players.
So even if you are not playing CastOut, you will have an opportunity to back your favorite players. And if you back the right ones, maybe you earn a little bracky in the process. So if you're not familiar with bracky, go type in the words at bracky, tell me who you are, and it will tell you all about bracky. And that's all you need to do. And you can do that actually over on Twitter as well now. But I think is it still the same? It might be a different name. I'm not sure. But you can do it on Farcaster by tagging at bracky, and also on Twitter, there is a way to do that as well. So very exciting. Moving on, Friday was Dev Day. So this was from DWR the day before. Another big day tomorrow, Developer Day in New York. We did this last year in LA, and it was a big success. Most of the Farcaster team is in New York, where we'll give a keynote and host a Q&A with several dozen ecosystem developers. As with last year, space is limited, so we couldn't invite everyone. I'll hold a remote-friendly AMA later in the day for anyone building on the protocol. Finally, huge shout out to Linda for organizing, and Estes for helping with the venue and catering, who was also Emma, who also who organized FarCon. So this was the Farcaster Developer Day. I was trying to figure out people from the back of their heads. I could figure out some. I got some. And then yes, I see Jeff. Hold on. I was getting to Jeff. I was getting there. And then this was the Dev Day dinner after the fact, where immediately the first person who stands out is Jeff Goldberg. And this was hilarious from Android 16. Record scratch, freeze frame. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. That's exactly what it looks like. For those who don't know and aren't familiar, Jeff Goldberg has been publicly critical, and sometimes with amazing feedback, sometimes a little trolly. We got a little bit of both from Jeff, of the Farcaster team, and was in attendance at Dev Day and seemed to have a great time. And everybody had fun meeting him. So there you go. Was just a matter of getting him in the room. And really quick, this from Peachy. This is really funny. So Lamb Chop was like, what the fuck is happening in New York? Why is everybody in New York right now? And both Peachy and Horsefax answered, LOL, Dev Day.
I'm so glad you are here to explain Farcaster to me, because someone sent me this meme
and you had
I
no
had
idea what
no
it was.
idea it was Lamb Chop. I was like, that kind of looks like Peachy the Witch. The Witch. I know Horsefax is a ridiculous higher horse. I didn't understand because they also added Alina Ferry into the bottom, and I was like, I don't understand this. So
I don't understand what's happening. No, this was just a little momentary fun about Dev Day. But let's actually talk about that. You were there. Give me overall, like, what was the keynote like? What was what else, who else spoke? What did you get from it? Just give us like a quick overview.
So keynote was it was Dan and Varun giving a road priority update, like where they're focused, all about discover, trade, create. I'm like, I better remember it. And they're like kind of how they're leaning into kind of trading, the wallet experience, making Farcaster the best place for traders, for crypto. Very much, if you've ever heard a Dan and Varun talk, very much the same vibe. So it's not the Steve Ballmer on the stage with like armpit sweating. It's not the it was just like
not a hype
it wasn't a hype
keynote talk. Yeah.
And it is super transparent as they've always been about how they're thinking in terms of like, it's just growth. What is going to drive growth for Farcaster? I loved it. And then they really just make most of the time open for Q&A. And as with this developer crowd, people will ask questions. Could probably go on forever. We had to cut it. But they answer anything. So it was really great. And then most of the day was really just open networking and collaboration and kind of co-working. So probably about 100 developers throughout the ecosystem. And then in the afternoon, there's about an hour and a half of lightning talks of, I think it was about 12 builders doing 3-4 minute updates on what they're building. So it was awesome. I loved it. And then there was an evening out dinner party that I unfortunately could not attend.
And that was the, that's the famous Jeff Goldberg picture now. So speaking of those talks, there was one by TLDR, of Bracky fame, and his hat got a lot of attention, the 37 meme hat. And that led to this Tri-Emerge adding a little hat and everybody adding. So for those who are not familiar with Tri-Emerge on Farcaster, it's a mini app where you can create a workflow by tagging it, and then it will allow for any PFP to be changed into this workflow. So this is, you can add the 37 hat to your PFP, which led to Martin creating $37. So we have a new meme coin to go with the meme. And also being willing to pay 37,037,037 to anyone with the 37 hat. So there you go. And yes, A-Town was the one who created the 37 hat, who's also the lead behind Emerge. So there you go. And then this was the funniest little revelation, which I didn't even realize, that Balaji is FID 37. This may or may not become relevant at some point. Just, keep it in mind if you're playing CastOut, is all I'll say. So,
nice.
You never know when that might become relevant. I love it when
this is straight up conspiracy theory video.
Total. There was other things. People kept posting different 37 things and creating a full on. Definitely conspiracy theory. The other funny thing was people doing the 6-7, 3-7 instead. There was that. So we've got a lot of 3-7 approaches here. So very funny. I love it when we're memeing. Then we have one more thing that I wanted to just highlight. Zapper also has a client. It's still in testnet. And I spent some time bopping around there, and I have a feeling that DGen may end up, the DGen client that's coming out may feel similar. It's very trader focused, very DeFi focused, but I did find it to be really useful for that purpose. And what I'm kind of like getting the sense is that I'm just going to be using different clients for different purposes. And that's going to be perfectly fine. So I really
feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Feature, not a bug. And I really liked the Zapper client for that purpose. But if I wasn't looking to trade, or that wasn't an interest, this is going to be annoying to you if you're not a trader. But if you are, it can be really useful. It was great information. It was like, you had a lot of alpha flowing. It was really good. It was just clanker after clanker after clanker. So because it was that moment, but it was great.
Yeah. And Zapper's still on testnet, as is Uno, but I'm excited also for Uno to come out, which is like, if like you're not looking for a trading app and you want more of kind of the IG style feed with friends, like you have that alternative.
I think we're going to see that's the way this is going to roll, is that we're going to have all these different clients that serve different purposes. And then you also have base. So for those who we know we got a lot of viewers today. We've got Dan and Dish coming on in just a bit. And a lot of people may not be familiar with how that works. I have been getting an excessive number of questions lately about two things: Clanker and base. Base app, I should say, but also people, getting their ears perked up with the mention that base is exploring a token. So just to kind of explain, the social feed on both is the same, but you can do different things in these different clients. So for example, you have the Zora tie-in on the base app so that your post can become a coin. So there's that, as well as creator coins that are now being directly integrated into profiles within the base app. You also have some really good trading features as well. I know Oxbid has been working hard on sort of surfacing that. So base has that aspect as well. And then you have, Zapper, like I said, is very trading focused. You're going to have a DGen client that's going to be very trading focused. You've got Uno that is the opposite of that. So we're getting like loads of different clients, but the feed will essentially be the same, where you might see it differently because the algos will be different, but you'll see you'll have the same content that'll be perpetrated, like broadcast between all the different clients. I'm trying to get all these other things to open. Way too many links today. So for those who are unfamiliar, we show a lot of casts from Farcaster, and I'm trying to put them in different buckets, and they are just challenging today. So here is the other thing that happened that Brad mentioned, is that Dan went AI crazy. He went on a little binge, and as did Slowcare. And this crazy Warplet character that he created when the Warplet launched, which is in my background right now, and in Adrian's, that they were debating using as a mascot, and there was a lot of pushback. So it became CCO, and it became this unofficial mascot. And now Dan has gone absolutely crazy, and the little warpy guy is everywhere, this warpy monster. So we have him in Clanker. We have him battling Clanker. We have him in a Clanker suit. We have his cousin Moley. So bad. For those who aren't familiar, this refers to a green verde mole meme on Farcaster.
It's so bad in purple. I don't know how
so bad.
How it could even have gotten like an order of magnitude worse in green.
It's amazing. And then, by the way, Farcaster does have free signups right now, so there is no fee to sign up. You don't have to. I don't even think you have to link your Twitter. Or do you still need to link your Twitter for free? I'm not sure. I don't think so. So come sign up for free. But also, Dan then posted free signups with the little warpy creature. Linda has been horrified by this little guy since the beginning. So she said, my biggest issue with DWR is he keeps trying to push his creations of Warplet as our mascot and his cousin Moley. by the way, holy moly, also quite funny.
Nice.
Very quite funny and a little heretical. And then here are all the various versions. By the way, the dog's kind of cute. The Burtwurst of it all, kind of cute. Then Say Angel created an NFT mini app where it will change your PFP into this little warplet creature monster. But then it broke because everyone went crazy creating theirs. But also it went to like a 10x or more on OpenSea. Like, what is happening right now? So one of the funniest nights in a very long time, Linda is going to wake up to discover that freak Warplet universe characters brought back NFTs. Like, they're trending on OpenSea, which is just absolutely hilarious because there's just no reason this should be happening. But I think to Dan's point here, great example of the power of Farcaster developer Legos. Say Angel builds a mini app that pulls in your FID and PFP, remixes it with the Warplet mascot, charge a small mint fee, which burns a Clanker token, share back in the feed for viral distribution. NFTs show up on OpenSea immediately. The Clanker warp benefits from the virality of the meme. The increased eyeballs on Clanker get people interested in the NFT collection. A floor appears on the NFTs, driving more people back into Farcaster apps since you need an FID to mint. Discover, trade, create. So there you go. Little, shall we say it? Flywheel, if you will. Drink, everybody. That's our drinking word. This from Tanny. Just got my Halloween costume. Anyone else want one? Yes, we've got a Warpy Halloween costume. And then this is the Emerge version where you could create it. And this was Tim's, which was hilarious. And then we had this Farcaster Guide to Warplets, similar to Gremlins. No bright lights. Candles are fine. Humankind candles are fine, is what it should have said. Don't get them wet. Water makes them put on an eye patch and pretend they're pirates. Do not feed them after midnight. That's where Farcaster Eats first originated. Now we have lore. And by the way, because he was CCO, right when he was launched, you added him as the mascot for Warpy. So this is our bot that answers questions about GM Farcaster from episodes, from our transcripts. So he is our little mascot as well. So I call him Warpy. That's why I was spelling Moly with 2 E's, and Dan was very upset by that.
I got offended.
And Jake had also added him to the Condo app because it cleans up your wallet. So it eats your dust, if you will, if you're not familiar. So
by the way, cool. I don't know if you remember this, Lord. Jake created a bounty for people to create mascots for the app.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Someone else took the Warpy, we call him Warpy, right?
We call him Warpy.
Warplet guy. And put him in a little like French maid costume, I think. And I can't remember if it was Mike.eth,
that's right.
Maybe. I think it was, but I could be wrong. So, Mike,
I think you're right. I remember that. Yeah, quick fact check on that one, but I think you're right. I think it was him. So funny, just so funny. It's definitely Warpy. This has just been fun. I like Farcaster when it's like this, when you have this 37 meme popping off, and it has it was him. It was Mike. Yeah. Awesome. You have the 37 meme popping off. You have all this excitement over Clanker. You have Dan going on an AI bender. I love when Dan goes on an AI bender, by the way. It's hilarious. It really is. Like, seriously, one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, and still can go like full on crazy with like AI sometimes. This is like when he went on this Giblify like insanity. Okay, so we're just a few minutes out from Dan and Jack joining us. So I think we should like set the stage as to what's been happening and why they're coming on over. So we're going to dive into what happened last week with Clanker. And this was the announcement from DWR. We're excited to share that Clanker is joining Farcaster. Clanker is the leading launchpad on Base and home to projects like Banker, Noise, Bracky, and more. We're thrilled to join forces to make it easier for everyone to create and participate in on-chain communities. We plan to integrate Clanker more deeply into the app. More on this soon. We have a few updates for the Clanker ecosystem. Starting today, Clanker protocol fees, this was last Thursday, Clanker protocol fees will be used to buy and hold Clanker. 2, Clanker V0 through V3.1 collected a portion of protocol fees and ecosystem tokens into a fee vault. The Clanker team burned these tokens earlier today, reducing the circulating supply of each. So that's why if you saw this big green God candle go up on things like Banker and Better and Bracky, all the bees, the 3 Bs in particular, they had some, because they had actually a lot of their token was locked in the fees. So that was a huge burn. So that's why you saw all of those sort of pop off right after. Then number 3 here, the Clanker team has also permanently locked roughly 7% of the Clanker supply into a one-sided LP to provide additional liquidity, further reducing circulating supply. And then there is a lot more info down here. Where did it go? There we go. Here's the FAQ. So I have a Clanker ecosystem token. What's changing is existing Clanker ecosystem tokens will continue to work as normal, and you can still create new ones. The only change is a reduced circulating supply for existing Clanker ecosystem tokens due to the treasury burn. Why were the Clanker ecosystem tokens burned? So when we're talking Clanker ecosystem tokens, we're talking about tokens that were created on Clanker in the early versions, 0 to 3.1, and not necessarily the $ Clanker token. So just to clarify that. So why were they burned? Selling tokens would likely have impacted their price, and burning the ecosystem tokens made the most sense from both a legal and tax perspective. What protocol fees will be used to buy and hold Clanker? 2/3 of all protocol fees from existing and future Clankers will be used to buy and hold Clanker. The remaining 1/3 will be reserved for taxes. Is Clanker now the Farcaster token? No, Clanker is independent of the Farcaster protocol. Farcaster does not have a token, also will not have a token, he said again, or has no plans for one at the moment. Clanker protocol fees will be used to buy and hold Clanker. Farcaster protocol fees, which are different from subscriptions, storage, collectibles, will continue funding cast, developer, and referral rewards. So that was a little confusion as well, because they started talking about protocol fees being used to buy Clanker, and there was confusion if it was Farcaster protocol or Clanker protocol. So just to clarify there, what will you do with the Clanker tokens you accumulate? We plan to hold them. Do you have any future plans for the Clanker token? Not at this time. Is this investment advice? No, nothing here is financial, legal, tax, or investment advice. Also, probably not a cult. That's my usual disclaimer. So there's a whole bunch of additional information here. And then we had this from Dish. Clanker was only possible because of Farcaster. Its wires are deeply rooted in the open social graph and flourishing ecosystem of developers, traders, creators, and community. We're ecstatic to plant ourselves as a permanent pillar of the Farcaster network and continue to build out the best token deployment framework possible. To the Clanker community, thank you for your unwavering support. The best is yet to come. Okay, and we had a few more things if I can get to pull up. Okay, so let's just stop there for a moment while I try and get a couple more casts pulled up here about the Clanker buys. Also this, wait, where'd it go? Did I just lose that one? I did. Okay. Oh, here we go. This was funny. They were doing all the smart contract stuff, citing many multi-sig transactions were signed. That's Horsefacts and Lobster Mindset and Dish that were
you
together.
like Dish's shirt?
I know. I love Dish's shirt. Looks very familiar.
Sporting the same.
Yeah. Looks very familiar. So that was fun to see. And then we had our.
Do you know you need to be in the same room for multi-sigs to work?
I didn't know that. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I had no idea. I thought the whole point was that we didn't have to be in the same room, but okay. But it's fun that they were. It is fun that they were. So this from DWR, update on Clanker buys. The buying process is manual and the schedule will be irregular to start. We'll announce buys as soon as we've completed them and we'll automate this within a few weeks. And then they did end up doing a couple of buys. So this was in response to Clanker update. We just bought 65,000 USD of Clanker using 2/3 of the protocol fees generated in the last day. The other 1/3 is being reserved for USDC for tax purposes. Transactions below. The buying process is manual and schedule will be irregular. You can see, did they end up doing the Dune dashboard? I didn't see that yet, but there will be a Dune dashboard with this additional information. But this gives you all the information about the Clanker treasury burn, so you can check that out there. And I do see that we have our guests are here in the studio. And I'm sure Dan is really liking our background. So I'm going to bring them up. Here is Dan and Dish, Jack and Dan here today, Dish and DWR. Welcome. We are feeling very warpy clankerish today. So glad to have you here.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. And so welcome to you both. Very excited. We kind of laid some foundation so the audience knows, kind of what the background was. We talked about your announcement. We've also shown them the craziness of your AI bender. So they're fully informed of where you're at today. And Dan, so I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about how this came about. So I kind of want to level set on how did this deal come about? What's happening with the people involved in terms of what's going on with the Clanker team versus Merkle team? And then if we can get a little bit more into the details of how the Clanker purchases and burns are all going to work. I know there's some questions around that. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so maybe high level, we are very much doubling down on the wallet. And a couple months ago, reached out to Jack and kind of started a discussion around kind of saying, hey, we're making this bet on the wallet. And a core part of that is asset issuance, right? The idea that to be able to launch something on chain from the Farcaster wallet feels like a core part of that strategy. And we had some discussions and ultimately it was a good fit. So team is now on board. There's no difference between Clanker team and it's one team now. So
okay.
Farcaster.
So does that mean some folks who are part of the Merkle team are going to be working on Clanker and vice versa, or how is that?
Yeah. Just think about it. It's like everyone's on the same team now.
Okay.
We have our set of priorities, and then we'll kind of allocate people. Obviously, Jack and Lily, they're going to have more context in that part. But I think Horsefax has already been very involved with a lot of the stuff during the transition, and Vernon and I obviously are going to be thinking about this. Linda's going to be talking to people around if you're thinking about launching something on chain, you should potentially be doing that with Clanker. Not potentially, you should be doing it with Clanker. So that's that. I think maybe to just go over fees really fast, it can actually get complex.
Yeah.
There are 3 buckets of fees. There's what we'd call kind of historical Clankers. So V0 through V3.1. The Clanker team had really good numbering. Those fees get generated out of a Uniswap pool in both ETH, WETH, and the native token. So if it's Bracky or Noise or Banker, so we get both of those. Right now, we're not doing anything with the native tokens. We are using that ETH to buy additional Clanker. V4, which is a more recent asset, so something like 37 or Sky, those are just ETH. So it's very simple. We just use the ETH to buy more Clanker. And then the last thing that we have is we have an LP position in the actual original Clanker pool. And so that allows us to kind of add liquidity. And as a result, that's actually locked in there. So it's kind of in there forever. That generates both ETH, which we can use to buy Clanker. And then it actually gives us Clanker, which we don't sell the Clanker to buy more Clanker. So we just
So we just hold the Clanker.
But ultimately, the way to think about it is we are taking all of this kind of protocol fees, all the protocol fees, reserve a bit for taxes, and then buy Clanker. That's what we're doing. And there are no plans. So like, just be really, really clear. We're going to continue to make those announcements public, right? So we'll kind of say, hey, we did another buy here. Here's what the total amount of Clanker held is. That may not be in kind of like a single address. We likely are going to put it into our Coinbase custody. Like we just generally think it's way operationally easier, much less likely to have like North Koreans trick you into like signing something wrong. Like Coinbase custody is really, really good in terms of just like the actual OPSEC of keeping funds safe. But we will continue to publish the kind of updates around buys and what we hold. Ideally, it gets automated, right? So we may get to a point where it's happening daily or even, sooner, which I actually think is good. It's like you smooth out rather than you have these big kind of lumpy and then you're waiting and then people don't know. But yeah, I think we're excited. We did not own any Clanker before the acquisition. So you can kind of think of us as like we're earning the position we have in Clanker as a result of having people use the Clanker kind of ecosystem, right? Like anytime you trade a Clanker in the ecosystem. So yesterday, I think Warp was kind of top of a lot of charts. That's generating fees back to Clanker.
I'm real mad that I sold that back in August, which I sell nothing. So it's really weird that I sold it for like $3 and I'm so mad at myself. Anyway.
Yeah, it might not work for all types of crypto, but in my 10 years in crypto, the best crypto strategy is usually hold for 10 years. And it either goes to zero or it's a lot. Like I think that is like a good way to think about it.
It's generally been my experience as well.
Assets these days that I'm a little boomer, so I'm not like in the trenches and that stuff.
You never know which one's going to catch on though. Like there was a few different, it was like Warplet, W, and like, I don't know. I feel like it's like whatever.
I had them all and I think I sold them all. It's so funny. It's so funny. If you look at my wallet, because the ridiculous things that I have in there that I haven't sold is just hilarious. Like lemons.
It is a question though, is what lore, you guys are lore experts on Farcaster. There was a flurry of clankers created in November, December last year. I remember one about like hair color, obviously people's food preferences. Like there are probably some latent memes that have yet to be rediscovered, and throw a Say Angel mini app on it and you don't know where things go, right?
It's
not financial advice. I don't own any of these things.
So Toady, there's still hope for Giveify.
About whatever I want.
There's still hope. So
this is not a good commercial for the Condo app. So for
Condo.
Right, you never know where you're Condo. But for me, as like my OCD, like having the Condo app, press it, and just like having a bunch of these like dust balances, it feels good.
It's nice if you need that sort of thing. So going back to the tokens that are tokens like Banker, etc., that are now being held, and there's been some discussion about what you're going to be doing with those, if you're going to burn what comes through additionally, if you're going to sell. There's some concern about that from the project creators, for example, who would love an opportunity to OTC buy it back, or, I think burn's a perfectly acceptable option. But what are you thinking in terms of that? Because I know there's a lot of questions around that.
Yeah, so let's delineate, like, before the Clanker team joined, like they were kind of running the platform in kind of like a purely like just launched Clankers. Farcaster, we have a swap point of business, right? And so the thing is, we have a different kind of approach to just doing a bunch of stuff around like how we do accounting and things like that, which is completely reasonable. And so for Farcaster, when we receive these ecosystem tokens, that's taxable income to us. So think about something, you have something that's fast moving, you get it, it's worth X, and then if you don't sell it, it goes down a lot. That the IRS doesn't care. So I think we have some like very concrete problems that we kind of want to make sure we work through. Very much hear people on, hey, it's not a good look, and optics on constant sell pressure.
Right.
But I leave three things. So first, V4 works like this now. Jack can confirm. Sky Castle, I think, is what the third largest clanker by market cap. Like, so it actually, like, you can have breakout kind of clankers in a V4 model.
Yeah.
Like, we're very confident on that. And part of that is just the function of time more than anything else. I think the second thing is the clanker team, prior to the kind of acquisition, burned a large percent of the supply of most of the kind of like clankers in the ecosystem, right? Like any materiality threshold. And so if you just start from how much was the kind of like strategy impacted, you're actually way ahead in terms of like, there's been a bunch of the native token, whether it's, a Brachy or a Banker or better, that's been taken out of supply. And I think the third thing is, like, I get the vibes and optics, but like that's actually an important component, and that's maybe the level that most people want to dig into. But if you actually dig into the math and you look at the size of the positions that the kind of clanker protocol would accumulate, now, if you wait for a year or two, that position can get really large. But if you're doing the sells as close to the time as they are received, it's a de minimis amount of impact.
That's true.
All that said, I would love to do something as aligned as possible with the developers who are using Clanker. So whether that's an LP position or burning, like all the things that's why we haven't done anything. We're investigating and trying to think through. We're gonna have clear communication on that. But I think, like, it's very easy to say, like, oh, you should do this. And it's like, well, there's a whole bunch of complexity around doing that. And so it's much easier to make the suggestion versus think through the actual practical ramifications of it. That's our job. So we're very much trying to figure out what is the best thing that we can do. Because obviously we don't want to do something that's going to have a bad branding for a client.
I think one thing there, just on that point, right? So for V4, for one, future versions, right? Like the protocol fee is taken only in WETH, which is, I think a lot of US companies should do it that way. What happens actually on that swap is that, that Clanker token is converted to WETH. We kind of call it like bullish selling in a sense, right? Even this is the same thing as if a creator decides to only take their fees in WETH, like that's kind of what goes on in between the hook swap logic. So like as we start to kind of automate this, right, like that's kind of like a similar kind of approach to it. There's a big like misconception there, but it's our job to kind of clarify that, and it'll just get easier with automation.
The order of magnitude of the sales,
good.
like it's a constant sell pressure. Seems like it's like, oh, you have this huge amount and you're doing it. It's not actually there, and so I think it's worth just like quantifying and getting all this laid out. And again, no, like we're doing X. It's just, I think the expectations here is we're going to do something that is pragmatic and try to make sure like it's well communicated.
Awesome. And I feel like it's been very transparent so far. Every time you've, done anything, burned anything, sold anything, it's been very clearly stated and shared. Is there a Dune dashboard yet? I know there was a spreadsheet, like I know there was discussion. I don't know if there's one for like all the different things that are happening with the Clanker token, et cetera.
So we're working on, shout out Moon, he's working on a Dune dashboard that's going to give more accurate numbers to the Clanker token buys. I think there's especially on X, there was like a big misconception between, they see like the Clanker protection team Dune dashboard. They're like, all these $1 million of fees, but that doesn't take into account external LP positions, its total DEX volume, and also like the creator rewards too, right? That's kind of all lumped in there. So yeah, we're working on it, but I think like as we kind of like go through this process more daily, automated, it'll be really cool to see kind of like just like an order book of these swaps coming in.
Awesome. Dish, I want to ask you a question. How are you feeling about this? And did this come about before or after Rainbow's offer?
Prof, you're grilling us. Let's see.
A little bit.
First of all, I feel a lot more relieved. I feel like Clanker got to a point where it was getting too big for kind of like me to kind of handle by myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, why, like I think this works out great. And, you know, like, I think like, honestly, like coming from kind of my background, like just primarily just a developer, right? I'm brand new founder, never been through this process before, never started a company, never talked to investors, you know, up until this year, never even talked about acquisitions. So this was all new to me. I felt like I was kind of out of my comfort zone, which was really cool because I feel like I grew a lot as a person. But, you know, I knew that like to really kind of get to that next level, I had to team up with a team or like with an established company, right? Like, you know, Clanker, we're very horizontal. We're deployed on a lot of the, you know, EVM chains. But, you know, to that, we were kind of hitting like a local maxima, right? Where it's like, if we go client, you know, kind of going vertical more. And, you know, we could have built out like, you know, hired a bunch more people, you know, built out a new team. But I just felt like the kind of like, I was looking for kind of like where Clanker, you know, like, you know, what would be the best place for A, the protocol, B, the creators, and C, the traders, right? So like this, I think makes the most sense. You know, I actually have a lot of respect for the Rainbow team. Like, just want to clear that. Like, they're a great team. I think that the whole thing between like, you know, our token holders, like equity owners, like that's, you know, it's just tough. I feel like, and for me, kind of like handling, you know, kind of like what was going on there, a lot of it was over my head. You know, I'm not like super. I just this world or this industry is way too small to have beef. Like, I think the Rainbow team's awesome. You know, like there's no bad blood there. For me, it was just like I needed to do what was best for the protocol. And I believe Farcaster's that place.
Awesome. One other thing I wanted to just shout out and say thank you, Dan, was for moving Clanker back up in the search feed, because I was like, why? Because it got moved down, and I was like, why is it below pump? That's not good.
We
Anyway,
did not want to tip our hand, so you know, we were.
I'm happy to see it.
I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, if you look at the price of Clanker, no leaks, right?
Yeah, there was no leaks.
Our team, because obviously they had that, and you know, people. I asked them, hey, don't do anything on this, and they didn't. Great.
We're sponsored by Clanker, and we talk to you people every day. We had no idea this was coming. I was totally shocked. It's zero idea. So I was giving away Clanker to people who were minting our pod just a few weeks ago. So by the way, if you got some Clanker, like by minting our podcast, you're up like 5 or 6x now. So congrats.
Nice. Hey, rewarding the loyal. It's
right?
You know, I think that's something beautiful.
I think they say believe in something, right?
Believe, yeah. You just have to believe in something. What has been like? How was your reception at Dev Day? How was Dev Day? What were people? You know, this is going to be the first time I'm sure you were talking to people in person about this acquisition. So how did that all go? And what did you hear from folks about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think reception was really positive. We were fortunate in that the announcement was the day before Dev Day, and I think I owe the network a broader update and kind of go through the presentation that I went through with the folks in the room. Adrian was there; she can weigh in, but. I think it very much fits into this new tack that we're taking in terms of the high level is, and I think we talked about this last time I was on the show. We tried social only or social first for 4.5 years. We got to where we are, which is actually a lot of people who are using this. If you think about it, it's like a stadium worth of people every day use Farcaster and global and all that kind of stuff. But I think we were really struggling to kind of hit that next order of magnitude. And we launched the wallet in February of this year, and it's organically grown every week since the beginning of the year in terms of the kind of core metrics there. And shout out to Slope, who I think came onto the team and really helped drive this forward. We have a bunch of other folks working on there, but he's been a really instrumental part of kind of like going from nothing to a fully fledged like wallet. Like we have all the functionality you'd want in a wallet for the most part. I mean, modular 1 or 2 features.
It's a fantastic wallet, and it honestly, I have onboarded for 3 years students to wallets. This was by far my easiest semester with the Farcaster wallet. So that says a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but basically, we're doubling down on that. It's like play the game on the field. Sports analogies. Do what's working, and so wallet is working. People on Farcaster are crypto native. Build around it, and we have a bunch of Legos that we've spent the time putting together over the last 4.5, 5 years that are enabling new things. And I'll give you 2 examples. So the first is swap comments, trade comments.
Yep.
When you swap in the Farcaster app now, I think it's like $10. We prompt you to be able to post a comment, and then your comment shows up on the asset page, but it also can go out to the feed. Still early on this product, like there's a bunch of iteration. We want to make it more compelling, etc. Day one, this works for any other app on the protocol. Zapper already has integrated it.
Yep.
Talked to yet Dev Day, definitely on their radar, and they have trades kind of in their feed. But the power of that is we have connected addresses, one of the earliest things we added to the protocol way back when. We have FIP2, which is how channels work. Like we literally never changed it. And so we were able to use that right from the beginning. And cast embeds, right? So the same thing that allows you to put a mini app or video or image, you could put an asset or a trade in it. And so taking our own Legos, we were able to build this kind of new primitive, and then other clients are able to use it right away. And it's both wallet centric, right? Like it's literally a trade, but it's also social, right? So this is where I think all of this stuff like clicks together. And so I would have used that as the best example until last night, because I ended up staying up pretty late last night because we had some downtime, and like obviously when this is kind of like happening live, it's really interesting. But Say Angel, who's been building in the Farcaster ecosystem for a while, a variety of mini apps, takes I don't know, one of my AI creations that I put out 8 months ago, I think. Like, and
Yeah.
you know, I was terrorizing Linda in the Slack channel internally with like, you know, this creation, and it kind of went away. Someone had actually created a Clanker at the time, and then now just kind of resurfacing. You kind of have Clanker season, which is exciting. You have people looking at the Clanker over here. And then Say Angel builds this awesome mini app that takes the CCC0 like AI image and allows you to do it with your PFP, which if you remember the waifu mini app happened last year, did it. But all of that kind of happens, and now you get the virality and the distribution on Farcaster. But one powerful thing about Clankers is Clankers show up they're completely composable with everything in the ecosystem, right? So they show up on Dev Screener, they show up in every other wallet, like on their trending. And so when that Clanker is kind of in play, it creates this kind of reflexive thing back on the NFT collection, which probably would have just been an inside joke in a different version of this. And so now you have like an NFT collection that like people are bringing down our site trying to get in because they need an FID in order to mint. And now you have I think it's like 200 ETH almost in terms of trading.
It's crazy.
So all of these Legos start to play together, and I think that there was some apprehension at Dev Day around like, is this social? I came for decentralized social, and instead you're giving me kind of like a wallet. And I brought up the Chris Dixon post. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, we love it when you do this, please.
The point is that like Chris has a post called "Come for the Tool, Stay for the Network." You should go read it. It's like seminal in terms of like importance of thinking about how do you build networks. And then one challenge is with the social approach we always tried, there was no tool. It was always you have like this multivariate, like you need other people in order for this to be interesting, but that itself is a little bit like, well, what if the people aren't there? And so with the wallet-centric approach is like build a great tool, wallet, and then have these other features that build on the Legos that we've been working on for the last 5 years that actually create these social experiences, right? And so this Warplet meme now actually ripples out into a broader part of crypto, which now benefits all the folks on Farcaster who are early to these things, who, whether you have the NFT or you own one of these Clankers, or you own Clanker, which by the way is now just continuing to have more fees generated, which people are buying. So there's a lot of symbiotic elements to it. And
I call that a flywheel.
We have going forward, because I think it is Clanker season, in the sense that like there are a bunch of people who are going to go look at these assets and say, wow, these aren't your average, just like run-of-the-mill coin that lasts for 24 or 48 hours. Some of them have been created a long time and a while ago, but they have lore, right? Like that's a result of the social, right?
Yeah.
Like the memes that people think are cringe. Well, it's like, cool, like these things are now graduating into a broader arena.
And you also have, I mean, you have the straight up memes, but then you have app coins. You have different ways in which people use these clankers. Sure. And I like, anytime anyone asks me like, where should they start? I just say, go to clanker.world and look at the champagne clankers or the Clanker mini app. It's a good place to start, because usually those have a little bit more meat on the bone, if you will. Adrian, sorry, go ahead.
No, okay, so Dan, so everything you're seeing this past weekend, or really in the past 12 hours of Legos coming together, viral moment, breaking out of Farcaster, everything built off of work that's been done over the past few years. Could you have predicted this a few years ago?
Good question.
Like, yes, is this a moment
you would have
seen
so
coming?
I think a few years ago, I would have said, what is working? It's some version of like, okay, this is it. We hit a escape velocity to start pulling people in for a Twitter-like experience, and obviously still the core experience feels like that. I think where I would have been wrong, but then in retrospect is like kind of obvious, is like it's something new and weird, and it is inherently more crypto native if you center things around a wallet and have the social kind of be the differentiating factor, versus flip it to say, hey, this is a social thing that is basically a clone of Twitter, which then everyone compares everything to Twitter, and then Twitter is all about scale, right? Whereas I think of it as like, you think of it as this, like, it's this kind of weird wallet that has a bunch of people talking, and like they're actually not bots, because we've solved the bot labeling problem for the most part. And so it's like they're actual real personalities and people, and like that makes it interesting. And so
it makes it interesting when you know who's launching.
But I think it's the most promising direction we've had since Frames and Degen, which if you look at like what was the actual driver of the real growth, it's like Frames kind of put a spotlight, and then Degen was the reason people came in. Right. And so I think that is just leaning into what has worked and making it an explicit part of the strategy. Yeah,
I think that, nailed it. And also, when you know who launches a token or who's buying that token, it gives you so much more information. So that DYOR becomes actual real, because you can see within the wallet, oh, this person launched a token. Oh, who is that? Hold on. Who are they? What are they like? Where is this all coming from? What would the token do? You can research better when you have that social connection, because it gives you just a lot more information. And I think that's always what traders are looking for. They want it quickly, but they also want to know that they're not diving into something that it's just going to be a waste of their funds. So I think that context is helpful.
TLDR, Tim from Bracky brought this up as a question, and I think it's worth highlighting is, I think one thing that's powerful about a real social experience integrated into a wallet is you actually can shift people's mentality from pure trading, like kind of this mercenary PvP, like, okay, I'm in and out, and like I'm focused on just trying to make money, to you actually join a community, like whether it's through osmosis or kind of gradually, and you start to build belief and conviction in something, right? So Tim has a group of people in a Farcaster group chat that are his like core believers in his app and project. And I think and those are people he didn't necessarily know before and like through Farcaster. And so I think look, everything that people want to do on chain, like we should just allow them to do it. But if you would tell me what is the aspirational, the thing that I would be really excited about looking back over the next few years of working on this, is we were able to kind of graduate people into things where they're actually finding real long-term alignment and community with whether it's people or ideas. And I think like that is something that I'd be really fired up about working on for a while.
The Bracky faithfuls, they are faithful. Like they go hard. That OG chat is a lot of fun, I have to say. So it's a lot of fun.
What would the token do?
What would
use
the
it
token
in a
do?
mini app?
There you go.
Like, I think that's the best use of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Bracky, I think, is an incredible use case. There it is. There it is on our soundboard. Stand on our soundboard forever.
I brought this up a couple times. Like, people are trying to like throw it back at me, like, oh, what would the token do? This is what it would do. It's like, no, it's a completely logical position.
It's absolutely logical.
Fees.
Yeah.
You can use the fees to buy back the Clanker. And like, I think for people reference, like, Clanker generates materially more fees than something like Farcaster, right? And so I think that like, and there's an ability also to capture interest that's happening outside of Farcaster into that economic model in a way that Farcaster is very focused on. You're going to generate direct economic value for Farcaster if you are on Farcaster. And so in a world where like you can actually create a repeatable growth model, then like you can start to have a reasonable discussion. But like, marshmallow tests, like don't try to just go do something because it's like people just say that on crypto. It's like, build something that's actually working. And I think Jack and team have done an amazing job with that. And we're excited to take it from where it is today and really continue to scale.
I think the other thing a lot of people don't realize who maybe haven't been as dialed into the Clanker ecosystem is how many Legos are built to assist people who launch a token. So things like Empire Builder and just different ways that they're integrated, super helpful. So that's another reason to, build on that launch pad as well. I know you both have to go. We're at that time. Any last thoughts or notes, things that people should be aware of on what's happening next and what they should be looking out for?
Yeah, I think the team is really focused on 3 things. So the first is just like repositioning Farcaster in a way that's easy for anyone who's not familiar with it, or people who had a preconceived notion before, reintroducing that in a way that it's easy. If they go to the website, they go to the App Store marketing page, we have stuff there, Apple's App Store review stuff. But that's a process. So that's going to be over the next few weeks, is to really try to get it so that it is a very clear value proposition for why should I join Farcaster, and really try to nail that. A lot of experimentation there. I think the second thing is like, make that initial experience around the wallet as compelling as possible, but also social, because the social component from our standpoint is actually the thing that is going to help create the retention and the differentiation. And then I think the last thing with Clanker is integrating it more into kind of Farcaster, but I think importantly is we really care about people who are wanting to go launch something on chain. And my door's open, Jack, Linda, anyone on the team. Is what we really want is the feedback, so that if we are making improvements to the Clanker kind of product offering, platform, protocol, that we can cater to anyone who wants to do that. Because I think if we get this right, you're going to be able to have this discover, trade, create experience where you're going to be able to come into Farcaster, you're going to be able to find interesting stuff that's happening on chain, interesting people that are doing stuff on chain. You're going to be able to do the core action of what people are doing is trading, although the minting could also be some component of that, right? And then finally, it's I think you get to a point where it's like you've either met a bunch of people or you're working on a project and now you're creating, and then you're using the kind of distribution that you get as a result of being on this network to actually benefit that. And so I think that is very much like what we're going to be heads down focused on. And we want it to a point where anyone on the network who's really passionate about Farcaster should be able to have that pithy, like, you should use Farcaster because of X. And I think that's actually also been a thing over the last few years that's been tough, because everyone has a different definition of it. And so the simpler we can make that and clearer, I think it actually really helps people grow the network themselves, like in the sense that they can convince a friend, hey, you should come and check this out.
It definitely gives so for, like I said, past few years I've been teaching this class, I've had thoughts of like onboarding them to Farcaster, and I didn't have a good enough reason. This was the semester that it was like, oh, this wallet's really good. And then seeing them use it and how easy it was, this to me is a great entry point for someone who is crypto curious, but maybe doesn't know what they're doing. It's going to be a much more friendly environment and an easier wallet to grok. Before we let you go, happy birthday, Dish.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time.
Clanker update.
Yeah.
So we've got a new extension coming out pretty soon.
Okay.
And I think it'll really be interesting to see how people use it. So stay tuned for that.
All right. We'll be on the lookout. Thank you so much,
All right.
Dan. Thank you, Jack. We appreciate you guys being here. We've had almost 9,300 plus people watching right now. So thank you for popping in.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely our biggest show today.
Love it. See ya. Bye.
Okay. We're going to just wrap up with a few things, but yeah, that was fantastic. So good to hear them. A lot of what they're touching on too, I feel like I wanted to just highlight this cast from TED, because I think it sort of gives a little bit more context on, which I'm not going to read, but just you can look back on this later on, in terms of like the Farcaster strategy of trying to build from a content creator perspective, and now kind of shifting that strategy to more on-chain content creator perspective, if you will, for those who are creating tokens and projects and things like that. So I think that's important. One other thing we didn't get to talk about was this. There's some discussion of like, are you on team A or team B? And to me, this is like really silly, being like Farcaster Clanker versus base DYOR. It's why not both? Both.
Yes, all of them.
All of them. It's very much both. A couple other things we didn't get to clarify with Dan, but I'll just highlight. There were questions in the AMA about any plans to launch a Farcaster token. Still not as of the moment. Are you looking at acquiring other projects? No and no. So that was just an important point, because there's always been this push for, is a Farcaster token coming? He has always said no. And he said no, and what would the token do? And I think, like, when you're thinking about what the token is doing, it's really what the protocol is doing, but also that has a reason for existing. So it gives it more value and long-term possibilities. Adrian, anything else before we wrap up today? This has been an awesome, awesome show.
The thing I'll say is, no, the only thing I'll say is there's just so much happening on Farcaster these days. The rebrand was less than a week ago, and we couldn't even talk about that with Dan because
we don't have time for that.
So much has happened. And there was 1 week on Farcaster is a year anywhere else.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anything.
And we're here. It's for those of you who are new, who are just finding us and are like, who are these women and what are they doing? We do this every week, usually three times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Times vary. Mondays are usually 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Wednesday, Friday, usually 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We tend to do our Farcaster news at the top for the first 29 minutes or so, and then often bring in different guests who can chat about their projects that they're building on Farcaster or in the base ecosystem, or both, often both. So join us here, and we'll be back on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and we have Shaw Makes Magic is coming on Wednesday. Like, this is a banger week for guests.
It's going to be a very exciting week.
So like, you definitely want to join us on Wednesday. And if you can't join us live, our recordings are available everywhere: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast. Just look for GM Farcaster and you will find us. Also, we're available on pods. You'll be able to collect this episode on pods. And hey, you never know when that's going to lead to a clanker in your warplet. So there you go. One last note, we do have CastOut coming out. If you are not familiar with CastOut is our Farcaster Survivor-inspired game. It is sponsored by the fabulous Clanker, is one of our sponsors, as well as Splits, Aptos, and Purple is likely going to be the fourth title sponsor, as long as that prop passes, and it looks like it's going to. So we are excited for that. That is starting next Monday. You'll want to stay informed on that. Adrian, anything else? I feel like it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
We covered it.
We're gonna have to make a lot of clips from this one. This is a good one.
Are you listening?
Push. We have things for you. Push and Emma, our other clipper, are going to be busy. Like, both of our clippers are going to be busy. Make sure you're following GM Farcaster in all the places. And we'll see you back here on Wednesday with Shaw Makes Magic. Very excited to talk to him about Eliza and moving over and building on Farcaster. Anything else, Adrian? What did I forget? I think that's everything. All right, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday. And with that, everyone, bye-bye.
Oh, wait.
What? Oh, wait. What? Go.
On Wednesday, we have 2 tickets to Dev Connect to give away. Forgot to tell you
about that
today.
Forgot about that.
So we are doing a Dev Connect ticket giveaway on Wednesday.
All right. So join here Wednesday, or look for more information about that on GM Farcaster, either on Twitter or Farcaster or Base App. And we'll share more about what that entails. But we do have 2 Dev Connect tickets to give away. I forgot all about that. Thanks for reminding me. And with that, everyone, we'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us for this episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to all our partners and HyperSub supporters bringing this episode to you. Follow the GM Farcaster channel for all the latest updates and add our mini app on Farcaster and the Base app. Until next time, bye-bye.